Hey everybody, thanks for coming to my channel again. In this episode of Unity Playground, we're going to script out the slider that we made in the previous episode so that we can affect it from whatever game objects you've got going on. So to start with, let's give it an accessor so that it can be affected. So it can be affected by other game objects. Let's add a component and call it slider script control. Now, the way I want to do this is I want to make it so that any script can call it from anywhere and affect it, so that you don't have to even go dragging instances of this slider over to that script. So to do that, let's go, just delete that. Let's make a private static variable that's of type slider I'm saying that funny, slider script control. And let's call it SSC. And now that is accessible from any static methods that we call, but also from any non-static methods. So from here, SSC can be equal to get component slider script control. Now I know this seems a little bit like redundant or recursive, but when this script runs, then it's going to go and put the component that's attached to this script, that component, in this static variable. If we don't do this line, then this static variable never gets set to anything. So this needs to run when we start. But beyond that, we just need to add the functions that we need available for other scripts. So for starters, let's add two functions: public static void add or increment. How about that? Yeah. And then public static void reset. And then, since this is attached to a slider, let's also get the slider so that we can affect the value in the slider. Now, private slider. So why doesn't that work? Well, we need to do one more using up here. Using the unityengine.ui. Now, slider's there. Slider, and then slider equals get component slider. And then in increment, we could usually say like this slider.value and then set the value or increment the value. But what you can see here is slider. This slider is not accessible from this static context because this is not a static variable. But that's okay, because we can say ssc.slider.value. And that's what you have to do in every static, is you have to prefix everything you were going to do with SSC. So, or whatever your instance is here. So ssc.slider.value plus equals 1. And here ssc.slider.value equals 0. So now let's make a completely new game object, player, and player health. And this is just going to simulate a player health. This is not going to have anything useful in it except to stimulate our slider to change. So if input.getKeyDown, key code A, in that case, then we want to call that slider and tell it to increment. So to do that, slider script control dot increment. That's it. This is static, so everywhere in your program there's only one thing that's called slider script control. So if input dot get key down key code R slider script control dot reset. That should do it. Let's try it out. R reset A add A R A R So that works. That's what I wanted to show you in this video. In the next video, I'll show you a few gotchas with the static approach and see if there's anything else we want to adjust a little bit or tweak so that we can make this more useful. I'll see you in the next video.